Brad Riddell here, and welcome to the Maritime Paintball Podcast. Do you want to be a better paintball player? What if I told you what you're eating is affecting how you played on the field? My guest is Morgan King, a nutritionist with an undergraduate degree in nutrition and dietetics with a minor in kinesiology. On this episode, she breaks down what we should be putting into our bodies off the field to get the most out of it on the field. As always, I want to know what you think, so shoot me a message on Facebook or Instagram. And without any more stalling, let's get into this. Ladies and gentlemen, welcome to episode 277 of the Maritime Paintball Podcast. My name is Brad Riddell. I'm very excited to be chatting with you folks and with our upcoming guest because she is going to school us on nutrition. She's going to teach us what we shouldn't eat before, during, and after a paintball game. And I've seen what you folks eat, and you all need to learn a lot. And so do I, because half the time I don't eat, and that's even worse. So, without further stalling, allow me to introduce Morgan King. How are you?
Good. How are you?
I am excellent.
Glad to be on the show.
I'm excited to have like an actual professional of pretty much anything on the show, because typically it's we don't get educated professionals. So I am a little intimidated because I don't know what I don't know, and I'm looking forward to learning. Dwayne King's already in the chat. He got his patch. That's awesome. Folks, if you were looking to get one as well, there's a link in the description where you can get one. And Christopher Struck is there too. At work, listening in, driving his forklift around, as always. So, Morgan, how about we get a bit of a background on you and why you were on the show to talk about food?
Sure. So I actually have an undergraduate degree from Acadia University. So it's a bachelor's of science in nutrition. I actually did a minor in kinesiology as well, which is all about sports as well, hand in hand.
Excellent.
And right now, I'm a graduate student at Mount St. Vincent University doing my dietetic internship and also doing my thesis on lentil bars.
Wow. Okay. So I got most of it. What's a lentil bar?
Basically, it's a formulated snack bar with like lentil flour.
You're doing a thesis on a snack?
Yep.
Damn, I should have went to school. That's awesome. That's cool. Is it should we be eating lentil bars? Can we get it like real quick? Can we just talk? Is that something? Would that help us in sports?
Probably wouldn't want to have it right before, considering there's quite a bit of fiber. Good protein content, but the fiber part of it, probably not so much.
Gotcha. Okay, yeah. Don't slam a lentil bar and then run around the woods with no indoor plumbing for 200 miles in any direction. Got it.
That would be a terrible decision.
That would be, oh my God. Where can I get these? Because I've got an idea. I need to bring one to a field and be like, dude, you need to try this. And then leave. I won't be there for it. I'll just leave. So okay, so you've got a background in food, in nutrition, and kinesiology, which is even more sports oriented. Like that's pretty intense. So you're obviously overqualified, but you're here anyways. And folks, while we're chatting, please post any comments up, any questions. If you have questions about anything, about nutrition, then please throw them up in the comments and we'll ask them. So Morgan, let's start with, before I go into like paintball specifics, let's just do like generic keeping a human being alive kind of food. Like what is like, is the food pyramid still relevant? Is that a thing, or was that like the food industry basically robbing children? What is good food? What should we be eating as human beings?
Well, there's actually been some changes to we don't really have a food pyramid. We actually have a food plate now. It's actually a recent changes that we've done as dietetics, and they actually removed the influences of actually food industry from that. So I think it's on the Canada website in which you can actually see the food plate. It kind of gives you a demonstration of visually of what a plate and what an average person should eat on a daily basis.
That sounds way easier to follow than the pyramid.
The little groupings that they used to have where they had the rainbow and 3 to 4 servings of each thing.
Yeah, nobody knew what a serving size was because my grandfather was just like, you know, here's a dinner plate sized thing of mashed potatoes. That's a serving of mashed potato. You know, like it was great. Don't get me wrong.
Yeah,
You
the
know,
plate is much better visual. It like just shows like half a plate of vegetables, quarter grains, quarter of your protein sources.
I'm down for that. That works for me. That's super simple to follow. So eat your greens. That's what you're saying. Eat your
Yep.
greens.
Eat your
Uh,
vegetables.
eat your veggies. Um, and then grain and then protein. I'm digging that. Okay. So is there what about like prepping? So let's say just like for the generic athlete, not talking paintball because that like I explained before before the show, like there's paintballers who are high intensity and then there's paintballers who walk for 6 hours. Like there's very different needs there. But just like generic, I've heard of things like pre-hydrating. They're saying like days beforehand you should just like increase water intake, and then some people are like you're gonna pee like 12 times in a day, but it's okay, just keep drinking water. And like I don't, pretty sure that your kidneys telling you to stop, but like what's a good thing that people should be doing before like high intensity activity?
Well, like not like days beforehand. I mean, it's always a good idea to be hydrated.
Right.
But like an overhydration is not particularly necessary. Like you shouldn't be peeing like too much. That might mean you're a little bit overhydrated. So usually what we try to like recommend is having just your normal glass of water of like between 6 to 8 cups of water and throughout the daily life. And as well, like pretty much as you lead up, you can pretty much indicate or know that you're actually well hydrated is from like your urine actually.
Mm-hmm.
So like you said, like if you're peeing too much, then you're probably overhydrated. But if you're not peeing enough, then you're probably underhydrated.
I
You
love
should
it.
probably
We're 12 minutes in and we're already talking about pee. This is great. We're in the
sorry,
weeds. This is gonna be a
dietitian
good show.
about it. But it should be like kind of like a light lemonade kind of like color. It's a good indicator.
I love the description. We're not talking like Tang yellow though, right? We're
No,
talking
no,
like real
no.
lemonade, not
Like,
not the highlighter. Got it.
yeah,
Okay, perfect. Okay, so
yeah,
that's
exactly.
it's a good level. What about food? Is there good food to eat beforehand, or is that not really matter?
Beforehand, you pretty much want to be have like lighter foods. Like if you are actually going to like it depends like how far you are from your game, right? So like if you are 3 to 4 hours beforehand, just like a regular plate of like your balanced meal would be good. So like your proteins, fats, carbs, plenty. But as you start to get closer to like the game, you probably want to have simpler carbohydrates and things that have like low fiber in it. So like bananas or granola bars or things that will sit like fruit leathers as well. And those things will sit a little bit lighter in your stomach and also supply the stores that you need to provide for energy to do your game.
Okay, getting learnt. Um, still got me. Love it. 12 minutes in, we're talking about pee. Uh, that's awesome. What? Actually, you know what? I wanna kind of backtrack and um, I want to dig into some of the comments that some of the other folks have said because I think before we start talking about what you should eat, we should actually be telling everybody to stop eating what they're telling me they're eating. That feels like a much better use of time right now. So give me 2 seconds here. Let me pull those comments up because I just want to get your opinion on what the average paintballer is consuming. I'm not even going to use the word eating. I'm going to use the word consuming because half this stuff is not food or shouldn't be. So I've got to get. I want to know your professional opinion on the greatest slogan ever of nicotine, protein, and caffeine. Yay, nay, absolutely not. None of the above.
Probably not the nicotine.
Okay.
Protein is almost kind of there. You're missing one other nutrition part about it, which is the carbohydrate.
Mm-hmm.
Caffeine, maybe. It depends on your tolerance with it, but caffeine
Okay.
is not fuel. So it actually doesn't provide any energy.
So can you tell me what caffeine does? Like, are you
So
schooled
caffeine
on that?
is, so basically caffeine is in the sporting world, it's an ergogenic aid. So it actually acts on your nervous system. And so it actually suppresses the feelings of like fatigue, tiredness. So it actually basically increases your rate of like perception of pain. It decreases that as well. So it basically, like you said like earlier, it's kind of it's a bit of a faker. It's not a
Gotcha.
not
Okay.
real energy.
It's
It
not
makes you
giving you
feel better,
energy.
but it's not giving you
Yeah.
actually energy.
Okay. It's not giving you energy. It's just making you less tired.
Exactly.
Gotcha. Okay. Okay. So all for the stimulants. AJ Corbett's in the comments here. He's saying we're talking healthy foods. He's sitting there eating a pile of Oreos. Would you recommend Oreos?
Well, Oreos are sometimes foods. They're all
Sometimes foods.
sometimes foods. There's all parts of
Oh,
like
they're okay. Sorry, I thought I totally
sometimes.
misunderstood that. They're a sometimes food. I took that as sometimes they're food. Like, just that one caught me off guard. What about hamburgers? William Gordon's saying hamburgers. That's his go-to like paintball food. Which that
Hamburgers, if you're having lean like hamburger meat, that's perfectly fine. What you want to do before going into any exercise is have low fat, because usually fat sits in your stomach. It actually slows digestion, and so it can make you feel a little bit like heavier. It can actually make you
Oh.
sick. And so we usually try to focus on protein and carbohydrates, mostly carbohydrates leading up to the exercise.
Okay. So I didn't know. So fat is actually slower, like slows down digestion. That's what makes you feel like sluggish and heavy and gross.
Yes.
Is the fat? Gotcha. So that's why when I slammed the bologna sandwich, I brought that right back up in the middle of a paintball game. Okay, because it's basically just
It would just been sitting there and yep.
it not going anywhere.
Yeah, it would have slowed all that digestion down.
Awesome. Okay, now I have a science behind it. And Zach Joseph's telling me and this is a quote, exactly 4 medium length French fries and a quarter cup of raisins. And I'm not sure if he's joking or not, but I'm going to assume the quarter cup of raisins is a legitimate thing. So, the dried fruit, they're good. They're high calorie, right? They're sugary. They're good.
Yep, they're great for right before exercise. Provide again those like good carbohydrates.
Perfect. Ron Sanchez jumping in the chat here. He says his go-to food before he plays is wild rice and chicken, which actually sounds like a pretty damn good dinner. And then after is a thick pizza.
Well, again, pizza, heavy, lots of fat. Probably not getting those replenishing of your carbohydrates and protein and cheese.
No, that's why you got to go with like you got to go with the meat lovers pizza.
Oh,
and then at least you're getting like there's a decent amount of protein on there.
No, that's true. But again, the fat's going to slow down that absorption.
Oh, that's right. That's right. And bacon and ham and is ham fat? Ham's fatty. Yeah.
Yep.
Yeah. See, this is what I know. Christopher Struck, sort of breakfast like eggs, bacon, sausage, hash browns, or at the very least, a sandwich. But as we just learned, apparently that's a terrible breakfast to have before paintball. Come on, man. Get your shit together. What about okay, legitimate question. I have, because it was on sale, I have Tim Hortons Timbits cereal in my cupboard. It was like $1.99, and we had to know what it tastes like. And it tastes like sweet. So,
yeah.
Very. But technically, okay, so that, excuse me, with like, let's say skim milk, just to lower the fat. So skim milk, and then it's basically nothing but sugar. So would that technically be okay?
I mean, technically, if you're gonna eat that and like go right to your paintball,
Yeah, and that's what I mean. Like if the paintball field's like 15 minutes down the road, like I can just slam.
It technically is a simple sugar, so it's funny. Like when it comes to the sporting world, like a lot of like earlier, like in the rest of like daily living, we don't particularly promote simple sugars, but as like a sport, you actually kind of want to have those simple sugars because they get into your system super quick and easy, and it provides energy for you. Now, Timbits cereal, maybe not my first choice.
I I mean, I think
But
there's cinnamon toast crunch there too because I think that was on sale too. So I mean, like that one, it says made with whole grain on the box. That means it's healthy, right? Kellogg's would never lie.
no.
uh, so okay, so simple sugars in day to day life, 9 to 5 work like job. Don't do it. It's not good for you. You shouldn't be eating it. But when it comes to like high intensity like activities like playing paintball or football, soccer, hiking, they're actually beneficial because they'll keep you from just like collapsing. Like
Yeah, they pretty much like reduce your fatigue and actually can keep you playing harder and actually keep you um, and actually improve your performance in some cases.
excellent. Is that why orange slices are given out to kids at soccer games? Is that the whole thing? Is like eat orange like it's sugar?
Yeah, simple sugar.
Okay,
Yep.
okay. That was oh my god. That's why. I don't know why I was watching it. I was watching a dude do ultra marathon. It's like 72 miles or something. It's outrageous. And the dude had to stop for a camp or whatever, and he's just slamming O'Henry's. Like that's and he's. I was like, man, the dude's eating like a king. But
Yeah.
after he just
And
ran like 30 miles. But yeah, okay, simple sugars, got it. No fat, cool. I'm learning stuff. I'm gonna take notes for this. Um, Elise here in the comments. She's she's very level headed. She's probably the most responsible player on the field. Before a game changes, depending on what kind of game, when the game is, if it's a normal walk-on day, which is just a normal day, like it's not super heavy, it's you play for 20 minutes and then you're off the field for 10 kind of thing. Uh, grab a sub from Subway. Oh, Elise. And on our way to the field after lunch, last year I had watermelon on hand for snacks, cut into small chunks for quick and easy eating, and a granola bar or two. Lots of water, some Gatorade. See, like
yeah,
it's the most responsible answer so
great.
far, and it's just going to get worse from there. So there's Elise there. Elise takes care of everybody. Coffee and a cigarette, and then a Red Bull for lunch. That's okay. So as we've learned, don't do that. Don't eat that. Ron Sanchez says, "I'm from New Jersey, bro. What do you expect? From somebody from New Jersey, I would expect nothing less than pizza. That's okay. That's good in my books." What was one of the other questions I had? I had actually written down some questions. So give me your top three. Let's say I'm going to go to a day of I don't know. I'm trying to think of like like a real sport. Football. We'll use football in no, hockey. We'll use hockey instead because hockey you got like 20-minute periods and then you got like 10-15 minutes in between and then 20-minute periods and you're kind of constantly running and then sometimes not. So hockey's probably the closest one I can get to here. But like give me your top three like the day before a game. What would you like suggest somebody like eats?
The day before.
Yeah,
So like the day before, it's still your daily normal
just regular.
plate.
Don't
Just
worry about
regular
anything.
plate. It's usually the day of that becomes more important. So you got more of your and again, if you're extended or long sessions, you need to fuel during, and then again important with recovery afterwards.
Okay. And that's where I want to go into. So let's talk about like give me your top three foods for the morning of. The morning of. So let's say 2 hours. You got 2 hours before you got to hit the field.
2 hours before that, probably you want to have some like fruit leathers, bananas, wraps with like peanut butter on it. Easy. On the go.
Okay.
If you're getting close to that, especially since you want to have those like quick sugar carbohydrates and you don't want to have that heavy feeling in you, especially if you had something like heavy fiber or protein. It's not really going to provide like a lot of energy for you. You really want to focus on, I can't emphasize enough about carbohydrates.
Just simple sugars.
Just eat carbohydrates and fruit.
Just carbs and fruit. Got it.
Carbs
So
and
all
fruit.
tasty stuff.
If you're an hour out, you want to really focus on those.
Okay. So you got to carb up.
You got to carb up.
Excellent. Awesome. During is more carbs because you just need to keep going.
Yeah, so it's just more carbs and basically in incremental periods as well. So you actually deplete your energy stores, so your carbohydrate stores within like 15 minutes of actually activity. And so it's prolonged, you're actually going to lose some of that energy and you need to replace that. And if you're when you're replacing it, it actually can help improve your performance and actually keep you going longer, stronger, and faster.
So should you be snacking constantly throughout the day? No, I don't mean constantly like nonstop, but I mean like should you be like eating small amounts every 15, 20 minutes kind of thing? Or
It is about, yeah, between like 15, 20 minutes, you should be having a snack in between. So if you're like doing rounds and bouts, like so after you've had like a round or a
yep.
session, snack after that. And if you go into your next one, you should be well fueled for your next round.
Okay. Okay. I'm going to bring so much peanut butter. Um Okay, awesome. This is actually super informative. I know I sound like I'm joking, but I really am not. This is actually super informative. Okay, simple sugars, 15, 20 minutes at a time. That, oh my God, that explains like some of the, like I've seen some big games. I've gone to some big games where we've got 1,000 players on the field and it's like a 6-hour game. And you can see, excuse me, the tea is fighting back. You can see the energy of the crowd, like morning, and then it just starts to peter off. And I'm guessing 90% of the people are either just not coming off the field to eat anything, and they're spending 2 or 3 hours at a time, and they're coming off exhausted. And that just explains so much. Just wondering, like, if I can just get a really simple, easy advantage over other players just by actually eating food every 15 minutes because nobody else does it.
There's
That's
always these little things called like gels as well. So like a lot of
seen
like,
those. Yeah.
yeah. So if you ever seen them in like, I think they're sold in a lot of like the sports stores.
The running room. Buddy of mine's
Workout.
a big runner, and he.
Yeah, yeah, the run things. So those things are perfect, and those would be great to have on hand, especially if you have those long sessions. Like have them in your pocket, snack on
Yeah,
them.
well, then that's it because we can't take our masks off, right? So we have to be able to consume something without lifting the mask, and you're not really going to get much through the front of it. So that those gels are a great idea. I'm going to talk to a buddy of mine who does loot boxes and be like, we need to put some gels in some loot boxes. That's a good idea.
Or sauce or baby food as well. Baby food comes.
I mean, it makes sense. It's soft. You put it. You get the little pouch with the tube on it, and you just like slam it away like astronaut food. That would work. I don't know if I could get behind the texture. It's everything is so smooth. um, but I mean, if it keeps you going, I guess it keeps you going. But that's a really good idea, though. I'm going to figure something out. Mike Merlot here is in the chat. What's he saying? Food gels. Yes. I don't know if he's asking a question like food gels or if he's like saying those little square things are called food gels. I don't know which one he's trying to say, but he'll tell me in the chat. Those who don't know what a food gel is, in case Mike does know, they're great. They look like futuristic ketchup packets because they always tend to be shiny. Any of them I've ever seen, it's always metallic packaging, and it's basically just sugar.
Yeah.
In like, it's almost like a syrup. Some of them are as thin as a syrup, and some of them are like thin Jello, and it's sugar. I think some of them on the packaging is just like glucose, and that's all it says. Like it's just a simple sugar.
They're just simple sugars, and so easy.
Yeah, I've seen. Like I said, I had a buddy of mine who's a big runner, and he would. Like halfway through his run, he would pop them while running because that's the whole point. Like you just squeeze and it's gone, and you probably won't choke on it because you don't have to chew. But yeah, they're super neat, very helpful, kind of expensive for what they are. I mean, really, I could just take sugar packets on the field if I really wanted to go that route. Can I do that? Is that a thing? Could I just eat raw sugar? I mean, it's disgusting, but texture and flavor aside, it's pure sugar. Can I just eat?
But
what about honey?
Honey would work.
Yeah, honey. Perfect. Yep. I can get honey packets. They're probably a lot cheaper than the food gels.
Yep. Just put
Poor
them
man.
in little squishy, and then yeah, that'd be a great idea.
Right? There we go. Poor man's food gel. Or make it myself. I'll figure something out. I need to market this. Um, Jesus. Charles. So quick shout out to Charles here. Charles is our latest Patreon supporter. I don't know where he found the podcast because he emailed me through the merch store. So what up, Charles? Glad you made it. And he's explained them perfectly, way better than we did. He said they're like concentrated gummies.
Yeah.
Gummy bears. Oh my God, we could eat gummy bears on the paintball field. Christopher Struck wants to know any tips for people trying to lose weight and getting in better shape from the nutrition side. You know what? Let's talk about that because paintball is a sport you can technically play standing still. So there's some dad bods out there. Yeah. What do you got? Tips?
Tips with weight loss?
I guess eat less sugar.
Well,
Calorie in, calorie out, right?
it is and it isn't. It is a bit complicated when it comes to like weight loss, especially with like genetics, again, financial situations.
You're the first professional I've ever heard who actually brought up the financial situations. Where it's just if you can't afford to eat good food, you're screwed.
It very much impacts like how you're actually going to eat and what you can afford and have what's available to you, right? So that's going to completely affect how like your body weight is as well.
Yeah.
So, but otherwise with like weight loss, it is a long process. Typically we suggest that if you are going to restrict or have something, make sure that you're still having all the essential nutrients. Don't be cutting out food groups. That usually causes a big no-no.
Gotcha.
You start missing certain nutrients and it doesn't provide like a well-being and health. So if you are going to restrict, don't go more than maybe 500 calories. And then again, it's like a slow process. And I would work with a dietitian if you're looking for weight loss.
Cool. Yeah. Don't do the crazy like cabbage soup diet or like fast. I mean, fasting can work. But like, don't do the crazy week-long fasts and.
No, well, like in the long term, they don't work, especially since you like rebound with those kind of diets.
Yeah, sorry. When I mean fasting, I mean like some folks will be like, I just don't eat for like between this time and this time.
Yes, intermittent fasting you're talking about.
Yeah, that's the word. Yeah. No, yeah. I don't mean like that. I know some folks who are just like, oh, I just don't eat for 3 days and then I can eat whatever I want. And I'm like, that's called anorexia. Yeah. Mike Merlo says, yeah, the idea of carbing up while also wanting to lose weight seems counterproductive. But I think if you carb up in a small amount, that should only be, it's not like you're carbing up with 1,000 calories every 15 minutes.
No, you're pretty much only having like 30 grams of carbohydrates. Like you're not having big. So like 30 grams would be like one banana. Yeah.
Okay. Yeah.
Or like one of those gels.
Right. Yeah. When you put it in that perspective. So don't eat half a box of Timbits cereal in between rounds. Got it. Honestly, that stuff is so brutally sweet. It's more of a dessert than anything. Dwayne King says, I fast while I sleep. That works.
I think we all do.
Right? Yeah. I'm trying to think now. I used to like do weird sleepwalk stuff, but no, I never ate, so I was good. Man, we got into some weird territory there for a second. Can I get your professional opinion? And it has to be more than 2 words because I already know what you're going to say. Your professional opinion on energy drinks such as Red Bull, Monster, and even we'll throw out like the really weird one called Balls. It's an old one.
That one.
Yeah, it used to be. It was like the first energy drink marketed to gamers back when like the N64 was a big gaming console. Like this company's been around for a long time. They only make one drink and they are super niche. But yeah, so what's your opinion on like some people who like they swear by Red Bulls on the paintball field or on any sporting event?
Well, it's actually going to be a really interesting conversation. So,
Good.
again, Red Bull or any of your energy drinks have high caffeine in it.
Yep.
So, again, it's going to be stimulating your nervous system. So, again, it improves your power, your speed, alertness, reaction time. So, it is an enhancement of exercise. So, they're not wrong in that sense. So, especially if you have like intermittent stuff, it actually helps with that as well, which paintball is fairly intermittent.
Yep.
But interestingly, it actually can inhibit effectiveness and accuracy in shooting.
I guess it makes you jittery.
It can. So it can actually increase your heart rate, palpitations, and tremors in your hands. So
Ooh.
there was actually a study done on athletes who do biathlons and athletes that were supplemented with like 300 milligrams of like caffeine actually had lower scores than the control that did not have caffeine.
Okay.
So it could
Okay.
actually depends on your tolerance though. So
Yeah,
if
I
you can
know.
tolerate caffeine, then maybe you might not get the jitters and your accuracy might be not as bad. But
Yeah.
if you are very sensitive and have a high amounts of caffeine, then it will affect your accuracy in shooting.
Well, there we go, folks. So that means, and only a couple of the people in the comments understand what I'm saying here, but anybody, that means the SAR 12 guys can't have caffeine. Um, just, the SAR 12 is like this, like 4 foot long paintball marker designed specifically for accuracy. It's like they used to be hand built by a single guy in the U.S. Like they're the biathlon rifles of paintball. Meanwhile, this beast back here is what 20 balls a second, so accuracy through volume. um,
But overall, we don't recommend energy drinks. Again, carbonated. I would, if you're gonna go the
oh
caffeine
yeah,
route, go for a non-carbonated caffeine source.
So what if it's just like a legit caffeine pill?
Yep,
Yeah, cool. I guess it would just be considered a supplement at that point, wouldn't it?
it would be just a supplement.
Yeah. Okay. Um, Dwayne King wants to know your opinion on protein shakes. Yay or nay? We talked about these before the show.
We did. It's they're great actually for if you're in a pinch. So they are quite expensive, but if you have like no refrigeration and you need quick, easy access with protein, they're the way to
they're
go.
more meal replacement than anything. Yeah. So
they are a meal replacement. They are also a supplement, so they're not meant to replace your meals. But a lot of athletes, like when they're coming out from the gym, they find that a protein shake is easy and quick to have, and that actually gives you that recovery quite fast.
there you go.
But what are
Yeah.
you mixing with your protein?
Ooh, mixing with protein.
What do you mix it?
Well, most people see that's the thing. It's like I know some folks who mix it with water, but most of the time the instructions actually say to use milk. Like,
Why would you want to use milk?
because there's, I don't know, milk's fat, sugar, and protein. So, is it the sugars?
It would be the sugars.
Ah, look at that. We're getting learnt. Love it.
Carbohydrate actually increases the absorption and enhancement of protein building.
Ah, so the sugar helps it.
Yep. So if you're just mixing your protein powder with water, you're not getting the optimal gains.
Oh, look at that. You're not getting all the gains, bro. You're not getting the gains. AJ Corbett, coffee, keep out of jail card. The coffee, the keep out of jail card. I will say I do have to have a coffee before a day of paintball because I have, because my name is Brad and I'm a caffeine addict. If I don't get a coffee within me by 10 a.m., I get skull splitting headaches, which is straight up legitimate caffeine addiction. Luckily, it's 1 coffee a day now. It used to be 6. I'm coming off of it. I'll stay on the 1. So, okay, protein shakes are good in a pinch, but really, I guess it'd be more for after the day, right? Like you're not going to really want a protein shake halfway through the day of paintball because then I feel like you're just going to bring that up.
It's not really during in the middle of it. It's usually after. Like once you're done everything, you want to have that protein shake within an hour after your exercise.
I guess it would keep, it's like I'm going to have the protein shake because then it's going to keep me from stopping at McDonald's on the way home because I'm hungry. And when you're hungry, you don't think straight. because like
No.
your brain is just like, bro, sugar and
Your
fat
brain
that way.
does
Let's go. Like, and suddenly that the golden arches are shining that much brighter. Uh, what about pre-workout? Christopher, I think pre-workout's just caffeine.
It is. It's
I
got a
think
lot
that's.
of caffeine.
I was gonna say it's caffeine, and then I think they throw in a bunch of weird uh, stuff. Usually, like I think I've seen like amino acids and something else and B's and A's, and I don't know what any of them do. Actually, that's a question for you. For a long time, there was this talk in like the game world um, to combine with caffeine B6 and B12. So what do they do? What is B6 and B12? Why were those a big thing, and why do I still see them on some pre-workouts?
Mm. So B6 actually helps with your energy system. So it's a coenzyme that helps like produce energy in your when you're exercising.
Okay.
There's actually no need to supplement with those. Actually, we usually get it through our own like diets and staple.
Does the
So
body produce it on its own, or is it something we just get from food?
we get something we get from food,
Oh, okay.
and a lot of it's like fortified through our grains and cereals. So we get plenty of like niacin. So it's quite rare, and it actually doesn't enhance performance. So
So it's just a marketing ploy.
a marketing ploy, pretty much.
Gotcha. Well, that's okay.
Yeah.
um, Charles is asking, what if it? See, now the questions are rolling in one after another. What if it's a homemade one with fruit? Charles, you're gonna have to remind me when that comment came through. What if it's a homemade one? Homemade protein shake? I think maybe it's confusing protein shake with smoothie. Maybe I don't know. A homemade
Well,
one with
smoothie is
fruits.
a great recovery meal if he's making a smoothie.
Yeah.
You got your fruit, you got your milk. I would throw in maybe some oats as well, get it bump up a little bit of the carbohydrate and have that protein. So and yogurt as well. So
Yeah.
yogurt.
So he's talking about the shake. Yeah. So like strawberries, bananas, some yogurt, some milk. Blend that up. Get it in you. It's good for
perfect recovery meal.
Perfect. There we go. Yeah, it definitely. Francis, my pre-workout is vape juice for the gym rats. That's my fiance. She works in a gym, and there's some of them that are like measuring out. They've got the pre-workout, and then they got the post pre-workout, and then they got the protein shake, and it's just like canisters coming out of gym bags, and they gotta have the pre-workout. Yeah. Okay. Smoothie. See, now I would have thought so smoothie would also be a good like pre game thing, I guess, because it'd be a lot of sugar and it's easy.
Yep.
So yeah, okay, cool. I love it. Learning a ton. Learning so much. It's coming down to basics now. It's kind of getting to the point where it's just like, gotcha, okay. Lots of sugars, no fat, and then protein at the end of the day. Got it. Loving this. This is great. And we talked about prehydrating because we got into the weeds on that one. Yeah. Can you give me, if you can, okay, I need you to suggest one single thing, only one thing to eat and or drink during an event, during a game, during a big game. So like if you could only take one thing, like let's say you were in a hurry and you can only grab one thing, what would you grab? And it can't be water. That's a cop out.
Water. Oh, I would say I would go with the electrolyte drink, mostly because could provide, some of them have carbohydrates.
Okay.
So that could provide you some energy. And also because you're running around and if you're sweating and if you're a heavy sweater or if it's a hot day, you're losing your electrolytes, so your sodium and potassium, which actually help with that exercise. And we need to replace that as well. So that would be
okay. So Gatorade, like Gatorade is you look at the TV ads, they're telling you like if you want to be Usain Bolt, you have to drink Powerade. But is Gatorade like a legitimate option? Let's say it's a hot day, like especially on a hot day, like it's a legitimate thing.
It is a legitimate thing. Athletes always have like a sports drink on them, especially if you're losing those sodium and potassium. So it is a legitimate thing, and it should be replaced as well.
Okay.
Along with water as well.
along with.
Lose water. You're
So
losing
what?
water. You're losing the two things. You're losing water and you're losing electrolytes.
Got it. Get those in. See, when I played rugby, we used to dilute our Gatorade with water, partly because we were cheap as hell, and partly because it just I don't know. I think the pure Gatorade was almost like too much for us. It was maybe
There
too
are
sweet, too sugary. So
hmm
right.
There's actually a bunch of different types though if you look around. So like not
I
just
know.
like
It's wild.
Gatorade, but there's like the Nun tablets. There's ones without carbohydrates. There's ones with like varying amounts. So it's very individualized. So get to
Yeah, it's
know.
kind of exploded, eh? Like there's it's you remember yeah, the tablet one where it's like you click the top of it and there's a powder flows into
Mhm.
the and it's full of I don't know what, something good, I'm sure, but yeah, that's
You can even make your own homemade sports drink as well.
run us through that. How do I or do you not have the recipe off the top of your
I do
head? You just know it.
have the recipe on top of my head actually. It's basically a 1-to-1 ratio of coconut water and whatever juice or 100% fruit juice that you like and a pinch of salt.
Well, there we go. So, okay, coconut water, orange juice because it's easy, and salt.
Salt.
Cool. I'm guess the salt. I guess is the electrolyte
Salt and
addition.
also coconut water has potassium in it.
Okay. That see, there we go. Look at that. That's gonna be. I'm gonna try and make that a thing. I'm gonna make that a thing at the field. I'm gonna be. I'm gonna. Oh, can't wait for the season to start. I'm gonna be such a yuppie. It's gonna be great. I'm gonna be showing up my homemade fruit leathers, homemade energy drink or not the sports drinks. It's gonna be good. It's gonna be great. I'm gonna go around telling everyone they're wrong. Um, super excited for that. So we've got about 10 minutes left. What are some like? Do you have any other words of wisdom that you know give us that'll keep us from dropping dead in the middle of a paintball field?
Overall, like, especially, I think the other thing that most athletes forget about is hydration. Very much hydration. Can't emphasize hydration and carbohydrates. I think if anything you take away from this podcast is
Hydration.
carbohydrates and hydration.
Okay. Awesome. Oh, Mike's coming in with. Mike's always in with the question. Like I'm like, okay, we're getting near the end, and then suddenly Mike's like, oh, hold on, I got like 6 questions. Love you, Mike. Is there a name for the food gel things so that I can look them up? Any brands? You know what, bud? Give me 2 seconds. I'll find them for you.
Also, you know there's like the G2. I think no, not Gatorade, but
Recarb,
hmm.
Hammer, GU Energy. They all have such intense names. This is. I found some for you, but I'll drop you a link. But yeah, look up. I guess I don't know. Look up the Running Room. They sell a ton of them. I just remember seeing a massive selection of them when I bought new shoes from them.
Yeah.
But yeah, and there's chews too. Apparently, there's chews. They're like healthy starbursts. So yeah, so go look into them, and yeah, maybe that's something I'll throw in my gear bag. I had another question, and I just it's gone. All right, so let's recap: hydration, electrolytes, because even in the winter we're sweating. Like even the few of us who are playing in the winter, we're sweating.
And even then, you're also if you're cold, you're shivering. Again, increasing sweating.
Yeah. And okay, so we're gonna want day before it's business as usual. Just eat a good food. The morning of you're gonna want a small light breakfast with no fat in it, right?
You have if you're 3 to 4 hours out, you can have fat.
Okay.
It's when
Cool.
you get closer. So after 3 hours, if you're starting into like 1 or 2 hours, you don't want to have fat or fiber.
Gotcha. Okay. And then from then, while playing, every 15, 20 minutes, simple sugar like banana or gel pack or pack of sugar if you're real poor.
Yeah,
Like,
depending on how long it is. If it's really short, if it's under 60 minutes, you don't need the during.
what do you mean? So
if you actually are not exercising for longer than 60 minutes, you don't need to actually fuel as much with carbohydrates.
oh yeah, okay, I see what you're saying. So if you're doing 20-minute bouts, so you're on the field for 20 minutes and then you're off for say half an hour, 40 minutes. Those 20 minutes are high intensity. Should you just worry about before and then
have something after, and then when you're about to do it again, same thing. You wouldn't want to have something during, is what I'm saying. Like during those 20 minutes, you don't need something.
Cool. Okay. But for those of us who are playing those big games that are like 6 hours long and we don't stop for 6 hours, and even if it's just walking up a hill, just if you're feeling tired, eat something. And then at the end of the day, you're all done. Sounds like a smoothie is a great option opposed to McDonald's or
yogurt granola bar, or no, yogurt granola and some fruit as well.
Oh, there we go. It's perfect. And then it keeps coming in and going. It's fine. You can tell it's been things are happening. But that's pretty much it. You've answered all of my questions and some I didn't know that I had. So I feel far smarter now after this episode. This is great. I've learned a lot. And now's everybody's chance to get a question in before we start closing up the show, because I know a bunch of you are going to have last minute questions because you always do this to me, or they're going to not do it this one time because I've told them that they're doing it. You watch. It's going to happen. So, it's weird because normally this is the point in time where I tell somebody, okay, do you have any shout outs or anything? Do you want to promote a product of some kind? Like,
I'm not.
I've never had a professional. Damn, this is weird. I don't know how to close up this episode. Thank you for coming on and for educating me on nutrition and stuff. I had no idea. Like I knew, don't eat garbage, but I also didn't realize that I can, actually plan a day. And like now I can plan a day of what I need to eat and what I shouldn't eat and all that jazz. So that's super cool. Super informative. I hope this has been not horribly confusing for you. I hope I didn't use too many terms back and forth that might not have worked out. But again, I don't know how to end this show because I normally have some. This is usually paintball related, and somebody's just like, I want to talk about a product or I want to talk about a brand, and I'm like, okay, go. So let me just say thank you so much for coming on. And where can people, like, what's a good resource for people if they want to learn any more about this? Because if you Google stuff, they're going to find all sorts of weird hippie stuff that is not good. Like,
right.
So yeah.
Right off the get-go, I have tons of sources that I know. A really good source would be the Sports Dietitians of Australia. They actually have a lot of fact sheets and stuff to actually give you, and recipes as well, that can give you different ideas for your sport-related stuff. As well, anything with like dietitians involved with it, I would go more inclined, mostly because we're backed by science and we have a background in research, and yeah, anything with the dietitian, I would go for nutrition advice.
Perfect. So avoid the guy who's just like, nah, bro, I know what you should eat. Like, don't talk to that guy.
No.
And there's a lot of them. Yeah, if you ask somebody I guess if somebody you ask for somebody advice and they go, well, I read in Men's Magazine last week, don't take that dude's advice. Okay, so what was it? The dietitians of what is it?
Dietitians of Australia.
Oh.
Sports Dietitians of Australia, sorry.
I'm looking that up now. There we go.
And then as well, there's the Coach's Kitchen Association. They have a bunch of recipes as well, sport related as well.
That's awesome. This is really okay. I'm totally checking out those recipes. Sports Dietitians Australia, SDA. Look at that. Fantastic. Dwayne King says, great show. I appreciate that. This is super cool. Nutrition Kitchen. They got a store. They got recipes, fact sheets. Look at this, folks. You guys got to go read this stuff. This is awesome. That's cool. This is super neat. Thank you so much for these resources. This is awesome. And yeah, thanks again for coming on. Folks, stick with me for 2 seconds. and yeah, we'll basically pay the bills. But yeah, thank you so much for coming on the show, Morgan. It's been educational and entertaining.
Thank you for having me on the show.
Right. And yeah, maybe in the future we'll bring you back on. Maybe we'll talk about. I don't know if I have any more questions about that stuff. Maybe after you get your master's, and then we could talk to somebody with the master's in nutrition. It'll be probably the same show over again with more ridiculous questions. So, thanks again for coming on. It's been a blast. All right. Oh, hold on. I'm hitting all the wrong buttons. All right. Thanks again, Morgan. Cheers.
Cheers.
Wow. That was an ungraceful exit. I'm sorry. But I don't know how to end a show with somebody who's not involved in the sport. That was ridiculous. I'm so sorry for all of that. But, folks, before we leave, let's talk about the fantastic people who helped make this show possible. My goodness. Oh. Let's talk about PB Swag Bag. It's a great company. You want to get some cool paintball gear shipped to your house once a month, check these guys out. They sent me this hat in a PB Swag Bag. It was super cool. You can go to pbswagbag.com, use the code MPP10, save 10%, and score yourself 10% off of your first bag. If you don't like it, you can cancel. No biggie. No commitment. So it's super fun. Try it out. You're going to get some cool stuff. Trust me. Artful Dodger Beard Oil. Great guys. Go check him out. He keeps my beard soft and smelling delicious. He's a small-time guy out here in the Maritimes with me. He's an East Coaster just like me and deserves your help. He will take care of you, even if you don't have a beard. If you got just like scruff, it doesn't matter. He makes some great beard oils, some beard soaps, some balms. He also makes great tattoo balms. So if you're a tattoo guy or girl, get into that. Go check that stuff out. And yeah, get the... why is that not working? DEFCON Paintball Gear. Go check them out. They're great guys. Big supporters of this show. They also have the supply crate that you can get once a month from them as well. Use the code Maritimes on pretty much anything on the website. There are some items that it doesn't work, but use the code Maritimes on a lot of those items. Score yourself 10% off, and trust me, just go check them out. They got a ton of cool stuff. They got a shitload of cool HK Army stuff just came in. Super pumped. I'm really excited. Use the code Maritimes. Score yourself 10% off. Next up, Tier 1 Armament, one of the longest supporters of the show. They've been around for ages, probably since year one. We're Max Tac, now they're Tier 1 Armament. Go check them out. They're your mag-fed specialists. They got soft goods, hard goods, ton of MCS gear, some other stuff there. Sometimes they got coffee grinds. Go check those out. I keep talking about the grinds because they're so cool. They're awesome. They're like chew, but not. Go check them out. Tier1armamentstore.com. Last but not least, the Patreon supporters, Tony, Tim, Alex, Matt, Ryan, Matt, Jeffrey, Dr. Rush, and our newest addition, Charles. What is up, my man? Folks, these people are the true MVPs. They are donating actual cash money to help keep the lights on, the two lights that are currently in front of me. And if you are in the position to become a Patreon supporter, you can head on over to patreon.com/Maritime Paintball Podcast, where you can donate as little as $1 a month. That's it. And I will be forever grateful. If you're not in a position, and I get it, it's okay. I still love you. Just share the show around. That's all you really got to do. And you too can be almost an MVP, because MVP is reserved for Patreon supporters. Oh. So, folks, that's it. I'm out of here. I apologize again for the really ungraceful exit of that call. But I hope you learned as much as I did, because I learned an absolute ton. And I cannot wait to lord that over everyone at the paintball field when the season kicks off. Yes, Alexander Cameron, you are late, sir. The show is over, but don't worry. You can go back and watch it after it's done processing, or you can listen on your favorite podcast app. That's it, folks. I'm out of here. Thanks again. It's been a blast. God, I'm ashamed of that exit. Anyways, we're out of here. Cheers.